Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. Welcome back to all of you. So today I'm just using these 5 colours, a base colour of black with a purple, a violet, a silver and a turquoise. I'm bringing my square back and I'm going to swipe using my square, but I'm going to do it a little bit different this time and I can't wait for you to see what I'm going to do. So let's get going and let's see what we can create. So to prepare my base, I'm going to flood my canvas with my black colour, and I'm just going to ensure that I've got a good consistency and coverage on that base before I start swiping. I always say whenever you do a design, if you can get your base colour right and your consistency right, the whole process should be a lot easier. So I've put some black on the base and I'm just spreading it out using my palette knife, and I want to get a good flat consistency before I start. Okay, so I've got my square and I'm going to place it directly in the middle of the canvas. And I got my square from a cake decorating shop. So if you're looking for different kind of tools to use with your fluid art, then check out those kind of stores because I find some really interesting tools in there. More of those to come in future pieces. So I'm just going to take my colours now, one by one, and I'm going to layer them around the square. You'll see that I'm starting with the purple and I'm just using it on 2 sides. And then what I'll do is I'll pick up my violet and do those on the other 2 sides, and then I will layer the other 2 colours, the turquoise and the silver, around all 4 of those edges. My paints are all mixed with a pouring medium, Floetrol, Otrol here in the UK, and it's a 1 part paint to 3 parts pouring medium consistency. And that's the same with the colours that I'm layering and the colour on the base. Now to actually swipe, I'm using toilet paper, and as you can see, I'm folding it twice to get this width on the paper. And then what I'll do is I will swipe all the way round the 4 edges of the square before I then do something very different, so stay tuned to watch that. But I don't use any water on the paper towel. It's a dry paper towel, it's a dry piece of toilet paper, and I literally place the toilet paper on top of the paint and slowly drag it from the middle to the edge. I don't apply too much pressure. What I do is I allow the toilet paper to sit on top of the paint. I let it absorb slightly before I drag it across. And I do that each time. Each time I swipe, I place it on top and then drag it across. One thing that I really love about this technique is I almost get lost in the moment. I'm not really worried about anything else other than what I'm concentrating on. And that's something that I really do when I practice my mindfulness whilst I paint. I allow myself to be very much in the moment. I really allow myself to feel that paint drag across the canvas. I really allow myself to really feel the things I'm feeling in terms of the touch of the paper on the paint, the feeling of the gliding of the paint across the canvas when I swipe. And I'd encourage you to do the same. Try and turn off your cell phones and your mobile phones, have very limited interruptions, and just paint for you in the moment. And I tell you what, it really helps with my mental health. It really helps me lift my mood. Sometimes I have music on in the background, and that's why I do voiceovers on my videos. But yeah, just allow yourself that time to be creative and create a piece that you're really into and that you're really involved with. And I hope you enjoy that process. So remember, the consistency of the paint on the base of the canvas is the same as the colours that I'm swiping. The paper towel is dry, the toilet paper is dry, there's no water on it, I haven't dampened it down. And when I swipe, I allow the toilet paper to touch the paint that's been layered. It absorbs slightly into the paper, and then I drag it across from the middle to the edge, or whatever direction you're swiping in. And I just do that at a slow speed. I'm in no rush to complete that process itself. Okay, so something slightly different with this piece than I've done before. I'm going to do the corner swipes as well. And what I really want to achieve by doing these corner swipes is almost creating like a shadow effect. So I don't want these corners and the swipes that I do in these corners to be prominent or very dominant over the whole piece itself. The 4 swipes I've already done, I'd like to really stand out. And I'm actually going to do a stencil in the middle of that. But these corners are about creating depth to this piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swipe the corners. I'm going to reduce the size of my toilet paper, so I'm going to fold it in half once again, just to make it slightly smaller. And then I'm going to swipe the corners using that size paper towel and toilet paper. So by reducing the size, I'm helping to create a different kind of depth. And the corners are all about creating a shadow effect. So I'm going to keep swiping over the paint until the paint is reduced in those areas to create that shadow. And you'll see this process now with each 4 of those corners. So I'm really happy with that. So now the moment of truth, I'm going to take off the square. I'm going to just lift it gently. And then what I'm going to do, I don't want such a rigid edge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just do a finger swipe all the way around the middle, just to make it a little bit softer. So when I do my stencil design, it's a lot softer in the middle, so you can see it. So I'm just going to torch this to get rid of any air bubbles. I'm going to let this piece dry. I'll take you in for a close look at the wet version now, just so you can see some of those details, see some of those lines that have been created, and see the depth and how we've created that depth by using different width toilet paper and creating that shadow effect. And when that dries, I promise you those corners will really help the other sections stand out. So I'll let this dry, and then let's carry on with the centerpiece and create a stencil. Okay, so this piece is fully dry, and what I'm doing is I'm using a gloss gel mixed with my colours from the colours that I use to layer and swipe. So I'm going just for a silver and a turquoise centre, and what I've done is I've mixed the gel medium with the acrylic paint, and I'm just using my palette knife to gently just swipe across the centre. I'm using a gel because I really want the stencil to stand out when it's dry. I really want it to have that depth within the piece. And you'll see here, I'm just slowly spreading out the gel that's mixed with the paint across the stencil. And then what I'll do is I will lift the stencil up and I'll take you in for a closer look. This bit is always when I get a little bit nervous because I want to make sure that the tape pulls away from the canvas and the stencil can pop straight off. And yay, there we go. I've done it again. Phew, I don't need to worry too much. I tell you what, I'm going to take you in for a closer look. I absolutely love this design and I hope you do too. Let me know what you think. It's all dry. I'm going to take you in for a closer look at the stencil and I'll give you a closer look of the detail of that piece. So you can see the areas that we've swiped, the areas that we've wanted to create that shadow, and then the area of the detail with the mandala in the middle of this piece. I absolutely love this, and I love the colour palette as well. I've not really worked with this colour palette before, and it's one that I'm definitely going to go back to. I just want to thank all of you, every single one of you, for all of your support, your continued encouragement. I really, really am grateful, and I hope you have a great week ahead. Take care, everyone, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.